This is my movie and TV review from a meditative perspective. We're going to be talking about Eyes Wide Shut. For some reason, Spirit was telling me to watch this last night. It's about sexual encounters, it's about infidelity, it's about really bridging the gap of mind control, pedophilia, and also secret societies where there's ritualistic sex performed by subservient women, and also the tug of war of being married and thinking about your partner being with somebody else. And also it has to deal with sexual encounters, of almost being put in the position of being thrusted into these encounters but not acting on them, but also having a strange desire to be poking around in places where you probably should not be. And also what I find weird about this movie is that there was 30 minutes taken out of this movie, and also Stanley Kubrick passed not long after the movie was made. I'm pretty sure it was like 3 days after the movie was made. So it's kind of understanding that it's taking you into a world, into a worldview of what not only the elites of the world do, but also what secret societies do. And what I found intriguing about the movie itself is that they already knew that Tom Cruise's character was not supposed to be there, but they wanted him to experience whatever he was going through, but then threatening him and his family, and also letting his friend who let him know about the party itself have a warning with bruises on his face and being followed and things of that nature, and also the mask being placed where he leaves the party and comes back home and finds the mask there, letting them know that they're following him, and also being followed and tailed. But also the sexual encounters that I thought were interesting about this movie was when the woman's father passed in his sleep, she instantaneously wanted to come on to Tom Cruise and wanted to confess her love for him, even though that she didn't know him. But in that moment, she felt the comfort, she felt his presence, she felt his authority to just come through and comfort her, that her husband did not make her feel that way. And also the sexual encounter with the prostitute, where she basically lures him into her home and wants the interaction, but then he gets a call from his wife, and then it doesn't really happen. So, but then once, he goes to the party, and obviously the acts that are performed there and people in masks, and the scene where they're all looking at him and letting him know, like, you are not supposed to be here. But then after that, that's where the movie kind of gets boring in a sense, where he's really just finding out about why the woman died that warned him about being there, and how she passed away and how upset she was, and then having that scene where he's in the pool hall with the person that had the woman OD in the bathroom in the very first leg of the movie, and then really just the guilt, and also the very fact that this person knew about all the transgressions that happened all in one night. And then it kind of dawns on Tom Cruise's character of what was happening there and what was being performed. And also, I thought was weird about the movie was about where he was getting the cloak and the costume, where the younger woman was, pleasuring the two men. And then, the man who owns the store for the rental gets upset, but then once he comes back and pays for the rental itself, then it's like not a big deal. So this movie really is controversial. It does push the boundaries, and really this movie isn't really a movie, but it is truth, and it's a documentary of how we are indoctrinated within mind control, within the things that we watch, what we're subjected to, what we're tolerating within our own lives. And I think if you don't watch this movie a bunch, which I don't recommend, because it's not a movie that I would necessarily just always gravitate towards, but I do think that if you just watch it just once, that you'll understand that sometimes it's better to stay home. Sometimes it's better just to have a good nature. Sometimes it's better to just have a soul. So my review of Eyes Wide Shut is really that it's a documentary, and that it tells you of how far you can go on an odyssey, how far you can go and lose yourself and risk something for pleasure and desire and lust and things of that nature. So don't risk it all. I think the moral of the story is to stay home, go to your wife and kid. It's not worth it. So it's kind of like, I don't even know how this movie was even made, which I'm very surprised that they took 30 minutes out, because they showed other things in the movie. So why did they take 30 minutes out for runtime, I guess? But what I found also weird about this movie is the way that it's set up, and also how risque it is, and how even some of the set pieces, some of the even the landscapes within the movie are just striking, and also have symmetry. So there's always something in Stanley Kubrick's movies that showcase something. So I think if you just watch this one time, you don't have to experience it again. There is a person that did watch this movie about 100 times, but I don't think that's necessary. But what's necessary is to show that we need to see what is in this movie, so that we don't lose our way and we don't lose sight of who we are as human beings.